So we're going to head back down to Shipton Abbot now and give you some extremely exciting news. Today I want to talk to you about something really important if you're considering buying a camper van, whether it's your first one or whether you're looking to upgrade. And that's the layout. It sounds simple, but it's so easily overlooked and people make mistakes. It sounds simple, right? You just buy a van, you put a bed in, a kitchen, electrics, a pop top. Or you buy one that people online think is absolutely stunning. No, it's way more complex than that. And getting it wrong can be a very expensive mistake, like one gentleman found, which I'll come on to in a moment. How many times have you seen a camper van for sale that looks barely used, or heard of somebody that has bought the dream van only for it to sit on the drive collecting dust? For sale, it's not for us. Yeah, it often happens because the van just doesn't suit how the actual person lives or that they travel. Before you even look at camper vans, you need to ask yourself some questions. How are you going to be using the van? Is it going to be just weekend trips, long holidays, maybe European holidays? Will you be using it as a daily driver? What do you actually need it for? Will you be cooking gourmet meals in it or just boiling a kettle? Will you need to have a nice relaxing lounge area inside or just a place to sleep? How often will you use it? Every day, every weekend, or maybe just a few times a year? How many people are going to be traveling in it? How many people are going to be sleeping in it? Will it be just you and your partner, a family with children, a dog or two, or maybe some cats, which you have seen recently? Where are you going to go? Campsite with facilities? Or are you going to be going off-grid, in the wild with nothing else around you? The only things which you'll have are those that you've taken on board. All these things make a massive difference to the layout that will work for you. And for that matter, the size of van that you're going to need. The best advice that I can give you here is to hire before you buy. Seriously, try out different types of vans, different layouts, live in one for a weekend or maybe even a week. See what you use, what you don't use, what annoys you, what you actually love, and make sure that you do use it as they exactly would do if it was yours. Utilize it as if it was your own. Where will you store all your gear? Can you fit in everything that you want to? Where are you going to put your bikes, your paddleboards? Can you put roof bars on top of the pop top for your kayak? Maybe a roof box or a surfboard? Just because Bob has his dream van and he's living his absolute best life, it doesn't mean that the same dream van will be perfect for you, no matter how amazing it is. Testing it beforehand can save you an absolute fortune and a lot of heartache in the long run. But despite what some say, that all camper vans are the same, there's a lot of variety out there. In fact, the variety is insane, and we're going to have a look at some in a moment. You have everything from a simple day van, just maybe a bed chucked in the back, to full-on conversions. And the layouts themselves, they range absolutely massively. You've got the classic rock and roll beds where the back seat turns into a bed, and that's great for a quick bed setup and keeping that living space open. The quality of these does vary, as does the mechanisms that actually operate them, whether they're fixed or whether they're on rails, and that can provide that ability to be able to move around where that storage area is. But there are some negatives to that as well, which we're going to come on to in some future videos. You've got vans with fixed beds that they're always ready to be slept on, but because they're permanent, then they can actually take up quite a bit of space. You've got kitchens along the side, like many VW transporter conversions, or sometimes that they could be in the rear with an alternative layout, often accompanied by that rear opening pop-top as well. Storage solutions can vary from under the seats, overhead lockers, wardrobes, and it's all dependent on how that layout has been set up as to what you're going to have. And then there are those pop-tops. A pop-top is an absolute game changer for headroom. It lets you stand up in the van, so you can stand up at full height, which isn't very high as far as I'm concerned. But choose one with a proper slatted bed and you're going to have a really, really nice comfortable bed. Like the Frothy Sprung beds, they are really comfy. And even with pop-tops, there's loads and loads of variation here in the manner how they actually open. Commonly, they open from the front, like you're going to see on the majority of conversions. Yet some open from the rear, like we've seen on some of the Bowden's conversions, which I've shown you in the past. And then there's also some conversions that have the side opening pop-tops, Those have been manufactured by Bilbo's, create those, and Dormobile obviously had those many, many years ago on the T2. But which one of these suits your campervan requirements the best? Test it out, have a look. And then we're coming on to furniture, and it's not just about that fixed furniture. You have brilliant removable options too. Things like the slide pod, which I showed you last year sometime, that pull-out kitchen, the bed unit, so you can actually sleep on the back. These are amazing if you need your van to double up as a daily driver, or if you want that maximum flexibility, so you can take your kitchen out entirely. You can have a full campervan set up, and then 10 minutes later, you've got an empty van to do the tip runs, which, yeah, unfortunately I've had to do. Or the popular one at the moment seems to be the trip to IKEA, and don't forget your meatballs and chips on your way out. And I was actually chatting to a guy on the beach last week, and he told me this story that perfectly illustrates this point. He was telling me a story about a guy who spent tens of thousands converting a campervan exactly how he thought it should be. He put in all the fancy gadgets, the perfect finish, the units, the beds, the electrics, the heater, the pop top, and it was so good that it even got Campervan magazine featured. But you know what? He rarely uses it, because despite it being a fantastic build, it just didn't suit his actual travel style and what his needs were. He bought the dream van build, but it wasn't the right van for him. And it just goes to show that we all have different requirements. My perfect setup might be your nightmare, and that's okay. You just need to figure out what yours is. That was perfect for me, but my requirements, my needs have changed, so I need to change. And as we see with a lot of these setups, it's not just about the inside. Your setup can be extended. Like I've got my Isabella awning setup, which I absolutely love, and an awning provides that extra living space. In bad weather, it's a godsend. You can cook in here, you can relax, you can store your wet gear. And I've even got my comfy Isabella chair too, which I pop in there. I've had it for quite a few years now, and I wouldn't be without it. And you can even use that awning space as an extra sleeping area. It totally changes how you can use the campervan. And they come in various different shapes, sizes, and different bed systems and storage systems. And again, there's lots and lots of those to test out too. And I always say about people when they're thinking about getting an awning, the shows are very good for that. The NEC show, obviously, they do a couple of shows a year. And you know, they've got all these different setups there, and it's perfect for going in, having a look, seeing what you think would suit your requirements the best. And so with that awning, that's also got to be taken into complete consideration when you're buying the van, because it's also a good place to be housing your shower and your toilet. If you have a medium-sized van like a Transporter or a Transit, it's always good to have that separate toilet area. Anyway, let's have a wander around a site and have a look at a few of these different setups. We will see quite a few different ones. So the first one which we've got is a traditional layout, but as you'll see, they've also got a tent, and that's what I said in a couple of videos ago. You know, with my children, we need that external space as well. So traditional layout in here, so rib bed, which has been leather upholstered, kitchen units down the side, you've got the gas hob, etc., and some units, plenty of storage, fridge down there, and then 2 front seats which swivel, and then the pop top on the top, which opens from the front. Like I've said, the majority of them do. But we're going to have a wander around the site now, and we're going to find some different layouts, including a U-shape, which I know is becoming more and more popular. So let's have a wander around and see what else we can see. So you've got coffee morning going up there for the Transporter Club. Just a orange Transporter with a front pop top. And then we've got an awning, and look at that awning. That's the Isabella extension awning. Quality awning, it's the awning which I've got, and I absolutely love it. So I'm glad to see somebody else is using it. Don't know who owns that, but you can see that they've got the leveling there to make sure that it's all level. And you can see all these vans here all have the front opening popped up. Can we find one which has got the rear opening? They are very rare. They're not very popular. But it's not really a case of them not being popular. It's the fact that people generally buy what everybody else has got. This is a van I've wanted to see for a long time. This is Rob's van, and I've not seen him for about 20 years. So I'm going to go and say hello to him in a bit, but that's his van, and I'm going to be featuring that on the channel very, very soon. That is a very, very cool van. But I have spotted a pop-top which opens from the side. Unfortunately, they're not in. There's a California Ocean. Just actually seen a California Ocean towing a golf buggy, something I've never seen before. But look at that. A side opening pop-top. Cool, isn't it? Very different. You do not see many of them at all. But it just goes to show the difference, the variety which we've got. Look at that for a colour. Very, very unique. And that's got some sparkles in it. In fact, it's completely sparkled. I'm not sure if the camera's going to pick that up, but there are lovely sparkles, not only on the pink, but on the white as well. That's a really, really nice van. Vanguard warning. And you can see they've got the cooking facilities in there. Don't want to pry too much because everybody's at the coffee morning at the moment. This is really, really bad timing. So I'm not actually able to get in the vans. But you can see there's a big range here of T6s, T6.1s, T5s, T4s. And there isn't a single pop-top that opens from the rear. That is one I really do like. It has been on the channel before. I've shown that one before, and the purple is really nice. Anyway, let's get down here and have a look at this U-shaped van. So this is what I'm talking about with a U-shaped, and yeah, I will say that this is currently being in use. I shall overlay a photo of what it actually looks like, hopefully. But yeah, this is a U-shaped bed. Yeah, that's perfect U-shape, perfect for having a couple of people in the van, 2 or 3 up front, and then you don't need a passengers in the rear. So that is just another layout which you can have. So that's that van, and then you can see we've got some nice ones down here. Got Maddie Moo, which you will have seen on the channel before, and then we've got a van which I'll just quickly get up to because it is my brand colour. Look at that, very, very nice. So we're going to head back down to Shipton Abbot now, go and grab a coffee, summarise what I've talked about, what I actually think, and give you some extremely exciting news of what I've got coming up. So, final thoughts, summing it all up. Choosing a campervan layout is probably the most personal part of buying a van. It's easy to get excited about shiny wheels or the cool paint job, but you really do have to think how you live, how you travel, and what your needs actually are. Will a simple bed and a cooker suit your weekend trips? Do you need a full shower and a toilet because you plan on being off grid a lot? How will you power your devices? How will you cook your meals? Is maximising living space key, or is having that permanently made bed more important to you? Don't buy the van that looks the best in the photos or the one that your mate has. Buy the one that fits your lifestyle and your adventures. Renting really is your best friend here. Try before you commit tens of thousands of pounds. There are loads of companies that you can hire a variety of vans from. Bowden's Campers do it, North Coast Campers, Campervantastic for your Californias and things. You're no doubt actually going to find somebody who can hire near you. You know, think about the flexibility offered by things like the different pop-top styles or the removable units like slide pods. You know, if you need that van for more than just your camping. And remember, things like awnings can massively extend that living space. You know, when you're pitched up, you can have your cooking facilities, your toilet, your beds, whatever outside. You know, this trip to Devon and Cornwall Transporters Meet, it really does reinforce how right the different setups can be, because everybody had something a little bit different. Everybody's got different needs. Some had toilets, some didn't have toilets, some had cooking facilities inside, some had them outside. People had fire pits, some had barbecues. You know, different sleeping systems. So before you dive in, pause. Ask yourself those questions. Maybe rent a van or two and then find that layout that truly suits you. Don't let your dream van become a driveway ornament. I hope that this has been helpful. And if you've got a layout that you love or one that didn't work for you, then do let me know in the comments. What's your must-have feature in a campervan layout? So, some exciting news that I mentioned, 2 projects recently. A budget van project, so I can show that you can build a van without breaking the bank? Well, in addition to that, I've got an absolutely major project, something which is incredibly exciting. And now I can confirm that it's been given the green light. This is a hugely complex project that has never been done before. And I'm going to announce that the week after next, I believe. It is a project where we're going to be building a van and you're going to be involved. But that's not all. I had a life-changing meeting with somebody this week. Following a conversation which I had with him, we discussed this potential idea for my channel. And I absolutely love it. And I think it really could well be the future of something which I have on it.
No, it makes me feel better.
So my wife told me to buy a campervan. Genuine.
Look out for that next week, or maybe even during this week. Potentially Instagram, Facebook, and also TikTok. You are going to be involved in this channel more than you ever thought possible. Much more than ever before. So if you like this video, then do please give it a like. And if you haven't subscribed, so you're going to be missing out on what I've got coming up, then please do subscribe. And in the meantime, you can have a look at some amazing campervans here, or have a look at next week's video here if you're watching it next week. Thanks for watching, take care, and I hope to see you soon.